myself. So I would score very good in academics. I was always the class first or second. Or like some of the people had done like 10 SSBs, or like it was incredible like how many SSBs they had given. So they would be so comfortable. Lakshya was one of the movies that really inspired me. Like, Ye kuch aaya Hindi mein, and then I'm translating it to English and then I'm saying it. There was nothing like that. So that helped. I would get punished in the night, of course, by the third termer because I made him do certain punishments that they were not supposed to do. The sixth termer would come and be like, okay, become Maharaja. And I'll be like, Maharaja, so I don't know like what is Maharaja. And I would on purpose pretend that I would almost say that, can you show me like how to become Maharaja? And for this I was like, if I'm going to spend 3 years in NDA, I don't want to spend 3 months more learning about NDA.
Hey everyone, in today's podcast we have Nikhil sir, and we are glad to have him on our channel, and I hope that by the end of this conversation you'll get to learn a lot from him. Sir joined NDA 13 years ago and he was All India Rank 3. He chose to pick something different from there, and at the age of 30 he has achieved financial freedom. So you will definitely get to learn a lot about what all options do you have if you're not able to make it into the armed forces, and how can you lead a comfortable life in which you have everything that you wish to. So I welcome you, sir, on behalf of my whole audience. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Avinash, and please don't call me sir. I work at Amazon, and it's and outside, like if you call somebody sir, it's they're taken a little bit aback. Oh my God, this is too much respect. But also like as people can see, I have a beard, and like I have my family now. So it's been a long time since I left India, but I'm very excited about this conversation. India was a really big goal of mine, a really big milestone of mine. And even now, like I speak to friends, they are from the academy and they are from my SSB time. So it's really nice to be in touch with those people and also get connected with you, Avinash. So glad to be here.
Thank you so much, sir, for such kind words. Sir, my first question to you is, what was your motivation to join NDA? How did you decide that, okay, I want to join the forces and I want to get commissioned into the armed forces?
I think so just for my background, I grew up in New Delhi, India, in a middle class income family, and my parents were extremely hardworking and wise enough to send me to a private school, which I consider as the greatest blessing I had, because they were earning like maybe 30,000 rupees a month, and they would be paying close to 20,000 rupees per month for my education. So it was like a lot of work they had to do to put me through this education. So sending me to private school was important was that school was one of the first schools in Delhi that made you speak English. You had to speak English. So as a third grader, so I was 5 years old, maybe third grade is like 7, 8 years old, and you're forced to speak English, and that is very uncomfortable, right? But that made me think about the languages differently. Now, even back when I was growing in school in 10th grade, by the 10th, 11th grade, I did not have to think in English and Hindi. I could think bilingually. So thinking bilingually, not even ye kuch aaya Hindi mein, and then I'm translating it to English and then I'm saying it. There was nothing like that. So that helped, right? And it also helped build confidence. So I was good at sports. I was in the table tennis team. I still play table tennis, state level in US. But back then, that was my first early success that, I am good at some things, because as a kid, you always have this feeling, are you good? Like you think you're good, but are you actually good? Like how do you benchmark yourself? So I would score very good in academics. I was always the, class first or second. I was very good at table tennis and generally at sports. So I became a sports captain in my school back in 12th, and I understood that, this is pretty interesting that, you play sports, but you can also lead people and you can, strategize for the whole school, like how to do overall well in school, in sports. So I think for me, armed forces from Delhi and from that, background, it was more about, not so much about serving the nation, because as a 17, 18-year-old, I didn't have that feeling, I have to serve the nation. It was more about, I saw the armed forces as the top elite mindset and the top elite, like physical, embodiment of man in my head. So that was like the epitome, like the highest level that you can achieve of, I used to play like a lot of Call of Duty, a lot of like, games, and I would understand how these missions are done. I would watch a lot of movies. Lakshya was one of the movies that, really inspired me. Like, And I was like, okay, am I really made for this? And then once I started going into it, Top Gun changed everything for me. Like I watched Top Gun, my mind was blown, and I realized that a lot of the SSB people and NDA people were affected by Top Gun. So you can blame Tom Cruise for that. But for me, it was mostly about the fighter planes. So that to me was, it was not just there was a man driving it, there was a pilot who made a big decision, but it was the big machines and just the understanding of working between machines and you. So that was the most exciting part, and I realized that to reach that level, so to clear NDA, from whatever I read, I realized it was one of the hardest examinations. So as a kid, I always enjoyed challenges. I enjoyed things that were improbable and which are not luck dependent, right? As much luck dependent. So it's not like a gamble that somebody gets a lottery. There is luck. I don't deny that there is not luck in getting selected in the academy and overall in your whole career, but you control a lot of the outcomes that come out of it. So what was needed is you need a very sharp brain. You need to be very solid physical shape. And third, this is all individual, but then you need to be a cooperative person. You need to work with people. You need to, be surrounded by people, cooperate with them, lead them when needed. That all three aspects of this completely fascinated me, right? So I started like working out. I used to work out. I remember like I just got in. This was just my mindset at that age. Like I would do push-ups, and of course my friends were doing push-ups, and I would be like, okay, what is the maximum you can do? And I remember like maybe as a 13, 14-year-old, I could do 110 push-ups. And I was like, okay, this is like, it is not that surprising that if you consistently put in effort, you can get there. So that was my motivation, was like, okay, can I reach that level just as a personal motivation, as a goal? So there was, that, but also like it was very respected in the country I grew up in, right? In India, like it's one of the most respected professions is joining the forces, and especially Air Force as an officer. So I mean, it was best of all things. Money was not that important. As a kid, like my parents were barely making anything, so I knew it would be more than that, but that was not one of the main decisions. But it was just the mindset of these elitist professionals that do so much. And I was like, can I go head diving into this and see how this works? And that was true. Like in the academy, I think you and I both saw it. Like the way they train you is just amazing. Exactly. You don't know you can do those things. So that was for me, like when I realized that NDA, like, okay, these are things that I never knew I could do, but they made you do it. And you're like, okay, this is possible.
So it's really beautiful to know your motivation behind joining the forces, because I get to interact with a lot of defense aspirants these days. I groom them, I help them prepare for SSB. So when I ask them about why do you want to join the forces, so they'll talk about serving the nation and all that. These things are very complex, sir, I believe. As a 17-year-old, you don't know what exactly it means to serve the nation. But having such clarity at that age was wonderful to know that you wanted to join the forces because you believe that they are the elites, and to have that mindset, to have that build, it was amazing. So, sir, now I would like to ask you what happened there. Like you mentioned in one of your videos that you were NDA All India Rank 3, and sir, after joining the academy, you found something which was not what you had expected. So what changed your mind to switch from there, sir?
Yeah, Avinash, so that's one thing you would learn, and you have seen it as you get older in life, is that when you prepare for something, I can give an example of NDA, I can give an example of IITs, the preparation is very different than the actual thing. And that happens a lot, and that's the way it is, right? And there's no complaints about that. But for me, like preparing for NDA was all very personal. Like I could push myself. So like, there's of course very funny stories from SSB. Like I remember that was my conversation for every person in NDA, like, or even like who's joined the forces. Ask them about their SSB. You'll see a certain smile on their face. Because in a moment, for me as a city boy from Delhi, I had never interacted with people from different cities. Like really, I played sport, But even within that sport, there were people from nearby localities in Delhi. So a very similar background for everybody. But when I went for the SSB, I found people like from Punjab, like from, from villages in Punjab, and they were so good. Like they were such good friends. So, they were like, some of the people had done like 10 SSBs, or like it was incredible like how many SSBs they had given. So they would be so comfortable. So actually I was very underprepared for my SSB, in the sense that I was good academically, I was good thinking, critical thinking was always good. I was good in speaking English, my communication was good. I actually enjoyed working with people. So it was never like something I had to learn. So when I went for SSB, I remember asking those older, more tenured SSB people, I don't know what's the term for that, I'm losing all these terminologies, but
Repeaters.
actually they were the ones, repeaters. So the repeaters were actually telling me every day before, okay, tomorrow this is going to happen. And that was like how I prepared, because I didn't really go through a lot of SSB crack. I understood the gist of it, but I was like, there's no way to prepare for, like there's hundreds of those micro tests that you go through NDA exam, right? You cannot prepare for all of this. And I see a lot of academy channels like trying to prepare each one. I think it's just the core mindset philosophies that you don't have to teach each program, but I was getting trained through those repeaters. So that's how I made friends. And then one day we had a day off and we went to Robert's Cave. I was in AFSB 1 in Dehradun. So all of our friends, all of the SSB people, like we dropped our phone. We took I think you can take the phone on the day you go out. And we all went to Robert's Cave, which was like, till Hairwater. So we had a lot of fun. And the point being, that was a lot of fun. Then I got medically rejected for Air Force. So I had a 0.25 eyesight, and that really bummed me out. Again, because I really wanted to be an Air Force pilot. And I tried to appeal, and during the appeal, like that's when I realized like how incredibly hard I can work to achieve this goal. I went through like almost like self-torture. Like I would, there was that, I think there's a famous Patanjali thing that you put in your eyes. It's like made of, it's made from onion and garlic. It intensely hurts. And I would do that like 3 times a day because somebody told me that can help you, work on the eyes. I would try out yoga things that, you put in water through the nose, or like it comes through the mouth. Like you were trying all these, I was ready to try everything. I would get up early at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., walk on the, the morning dew grass. I would eat a lot of carrots, a lot of veggies. Then apart from that yoga, I also did this, you insert a string. It's incredibly, sounds horrible, but you insert a string and you try to get it out from the other nostril, or, you try to basically clean out the clogs in there in the sinus area. And those were like, my mom and dad saw me do that and they were like, no, you should not be doing this. This is you're going crazy. But that was my dedication to get into Air Force. And then again I got medically rejected. Like, and the funny story is I learned all the, when they go for the eye exam, you have to read the letters. I learned them by heart. So when I sat down in the medical chair and I remembered those, I learned it. So I could repeat it like exactly. So the doctor, the officer doctor he was surprised, like, oh, you're so good. And then he changed the slide and then he made all of them the length that I could not read. And I remember that feeling that I was just saying gibberish. Like I was just saying F, G, like, and I couldn't read anything. And he looked at me. He was so surprised that what happened from the first scenario. So it was sort of cheating, but I just tried. I was really, really like just to emphasize the point that I was really into getting into Air Force. And then it didn't happen, and they said, okay, now the best option you can have is Army. And I was like, okay, this is fine. I'll go for Army. But you have to be. I think for the whole story, I'm a person who's always hedged their bets. Now, your audience might not understand this term. Hedge your betting. Bet means that you're balancing, you're diversifying, you're not putting your eggs in one basket. So although I was 99% focused on NDA, I was still spending that 1% effort on other things. So during my 11th and 12th, I was going for IIT coaching. I was going through all the, AIEEE and IIT, but my mind and heart were only at NDA. But even though I was going for those classes, I was not half-assing it, in the sense that I was not putting a half attempt in those things. I was very focused on those, and I was very focused on NDA, and there was no or. choice. I was both in the, So by the time I had to go to NDA, I already was in one of the tier 1 colleges in India. So I was in Delhi College of Engineering, and I got into a lower branch because my rank was not that good. And I also, of course, got lucky, getting that rank. I was not expecting to go into DC. I was just really preparing for both. And because the SSB was, so maybe a story backwards is like I missed my first NDA exam because, in the form when you have to fill what is your preference of Air Force, Army, and Navy, I left it for the last day. And I asked my dad to just check anything and drop off the letter to the post box, and he didn't do it, or some miscommunication happened between me and my dad, and he posted the letter without that. So they rejected my application because I had not selected the option. So I was literally, when I got through the SSB, it was my last chance. And this SSB I was already in college. I was in DC, and the SSB actually happened when my midterms were there. So in colleges and engineering, you have midterms and final terms. So I had to miss all my midterms. So I got 0 to go for the SSB. So otherwise, because it was my last chance, I think I would have been over the age limit of NDA. So what I'm trying to say is like I was always hedging my bets between NDA and engineering, and I was good at both. So that is something that I want your audience to understand is like you have to create options for you. Always create options, but be good and deserving of both the options. So yeah, I went to NDA in December. I packed up, I said bye to everybody in my college. It was the first year of college. So we had just we missed the midterms for the SSB. And then after 2.5 months, the list came out. And by that time, my final exams were going on. So I gave the final exams in DC. And the final exams, I said, okay, bye, like this is me, I'm going to check out, I'm going to NDA. Packed up my bags, went alone, took a flight to Pune by myself, and I saw everybody coming up with their parents. I kind of felt that I should have come with my parents too, but I just went by myself. And during the academy, I realized that, first of all, like those 20 days were incredibly powerful in shaping for the next 20 years of my life. So I think I was there for a month or so. And what I was saying earlier in this conversation is NDA Academy makes you realize what you're truly capable of. You don't think you can run. Like if I tell people right now I can run when I'm sleeping, they won't believe it. I did that there. Like, when you're waking up at 2 a.m. and you're running and you're still feeling sleepy. And I think the first few days they make you jump, I don't remember the exact height.
10 meter board, 10 meters.
The 10 meter, yeah. So when I was standing on the 10 meters, I was like, there is no way I can do this. But I did it. Like it just, the academy has a way of making you do things that you think are physically or mentally impossible. And like, I'm just going on a little bit tangent, but in the academy, it was like the first 20 days I was from Delhi, so they called me Yanko because I would talk like this. I would talk with my hands and I would get severely punished. But I was also the most entertaining person there because I would get punished. So in my batch, I was in Delta Squad. I knew one of my overstudies a friend. He was from my school. So there was only 2 people in my whole school who had ever cleared NDA. And I was lucky enough to be under him. Like he was not my overstudy, but he was my overstudy's best. Like, he was my overstudy's best friend. Yeah.
All right, sir.
And right now that guy, like he is in academy. He's actually a trainer there. So he's very, very smart guy. But I would get so punished because my English was bad. My English was Yanko, and I did not know any punishment. So I had no army background, right? Like, and I was never preparing for this. I was like, if I'm going to spend 3 years in NDA, I don't want to spend 3 months more learning about NDA. Like I learned it when I'm there. That's a good advice, but you'll go through a lot of painful events. So there was like a lot of funny stories. Like the sixth termer would come and be like, okay, become Maharaja. And I'll be like, Maharaja, so I don't know, like what is Maharaja? And I would on purpose pretend that I would almost say that, can you show me like how to become Maharaja? And that would really piss them off. And that, of course, they would not show me. The third termer, they would catch a third termer and say to him that you show him how to become a Maharaja. So that was funny, and all my batchmates loved me because of that. And then I would get punished in the night, of course, by the third termer because I made him do certain punishments that they were not supposed to do. So I would get punished like, it was like in the night when we would be in a file, like in a queue, I would be the one singled out, okay, you're from Delhi, come here, you're the Yanko. So I was known as the Yanko. But I was also lucky to make friends there. Like surprisingly, I had a lot of friends in the sixth termers because they all got to know that I'm from DC. I had a college admission in DC, and it is the best, one of the tier 1 colleges in India. So they were all like, why did you leave that? Like, for them it was a surprise, and for me it was a surprise. I thought that India was the number 1 thing in the whole of India. But they were sixth termers, like right very close to becoming an officer, and they were saying, why did you quit? Are you stupid? And I'm like, I thought you're supposed to be encouraging me. And then of course I played very good table tennis, and I was very good physically. And that's the other thing I would get punished a lot, is because, for example, as a first termer, you're only supposed to do 6 pull-ups. I would do like 15. And then the third termer, some of them would be only doing 10, 11, and they would see me like trying to show off. I was a bit of a show off and just trying to impress my sixth termers. So I would get punished again by those third termers, because they're like, why do you have to overdo it and, put us in bad light? So there was a lot of frivolous fun. I understood the fun of it. But at the same time, things started dawning upon me that, okay, I think the first instance that hit me was on the first few days, you're taken to the Air Force area, you're taken to the Navy area, and you're taken to the Army area, just to show you and everybody's taken. So for me, it was one moment that I realized that, okay, all my friends from AFSB, most of them cleared the Air Force. They're going to be going in the next 2 years, they're going to be spending a lot of time in the Air Force area, which I will never be allowed to enter. This is the only time I get to see it, as an army person. So that started dawning upon me that, why do you need to compromise? Because it was a lot of effort. I realized NDA effort in the sense of you're putting a lot of physical, mental, but also opportunity that, you're missing out a lot of other things in life, right? And you start realizing that. I think I saw one of your videos, like days left to go home, TL, DL, DTH. Like, you start thinking about those things. Okay, what are you missing? And I was like, all of this would be for army, which is great. I think a lot of people on their Instagram said that, you don't deserve and you're not patriotic or you don't respect the army. I respect army incredibly enough. But for me, entering the armed forces was to fly a Sukhoi, that was the Su-30. I was like, I'll never be able to touch it as an army person, no matter how high ranked I get. And a lot of people commented that you could have gotten army aviation, but it's not the same thing. You can get a chopper in army, I agree, and that's very respectable. But for me, it was not the same thrill as as a fighter pilot. And my friends do drive fighter pilots now, and I can understand their life. That is something I could have never done. So that realization started dawning upon me. Then there were other things to me. As an 18-year-old, this is where things became a little bit clearer to me that, okay, am I ready to hurt somebody? And it's not that army does only that, but those things started questioning me. Is okay, am I ready to kill somebody else? So at that moment, at that age, I don't know why these things started coming into me, and it's maybe I'm not ready for that. I understand it's protecting the nation, but there was a lot of philosophical questions. But I think mainly it was, why am I doing all of this for a compromise in life, which is, joining the army and not the Air Force. And also, I think I realized that I'm a person who likes to learn, who likes to, go experience things. And army has a very linear way of life, in the sense that you do experience things that no civilian can experience. But it is in one small space, and I'm not, I think armed forces officers are not allowed to talk like this. They're not allowed to have a social media channel. So those things were important to me. I was like, even if I do well, it won't be that much. So basically, some of my overstudies said that don't even call home, and I think that advice works for a lot of people. That I think what I remember is everybody's this close to leaving the academy within the first couple of months, and it's just that they just pass through that 2 or 3 months and then they can go over. And I think for me, it was a decision that I made, that I called up my family and I was like, can you come, pick me up? Of course, they were very worried, and we're not allowed to call home, in the sense we don't have a lot of time to call home. And then basically I came back home, and I can talk more about that, how it's that. But that was a big, I remember feeling last few days you have to go and collect no clearances from all the different places. I just felt incredibly sad, because as 18-year-old, that was the only thing that I wanted, was be in the armed forces and drive a fighter plane. But that felt what am I going to do? Who am I now? After that. So
I can understand, sir, that time must have been very, very difficult for you. But I would like to reiterate one very important point that you mentioned, sir, which was about the opportunity. So, as young aspirants at the age of 17 and a half, people join NDA. And like in your case, you wanted to become a fighter pilot and you were not able to, clear the AFSB medicals. So, even at that age, you had this thinking in your mind that I am missing out on a lot of things and a lot of opportunity cost is there. So, you decided that, okay, I am going to leave this and I'll try something else. So, I would say, sir, that was very brave of you, because at that age it's very difficult to think like that, because sir, in our country, as you mentioned, especially from the people who come from middle class background, like even I come from a middle class background,
Right.
reaching at such a place, having that A grade job, which is equivalent to clearing UPSC, it means a lot, way more for others, like people around, people who live close to our house, people in our neighborhood, everybody will know you that, okay, this guy has cleared NDA, soon they'll become officer and this and that.
Right.
And then deciding that, okay, I'm still going to quit. It was very brave of you, sir. So it's not easy. And as you mentioned, sir, that a lot of candidates or cadets, the first time are this close to quit the academy. That's 100% correct, sir, because life there is very, very different from what we expect the life to be in
Right.
India. It's very challenging, very difficult. And every day you are just fighting to exist, fighting for your survival, as if somehow
Right.
if I get to stay one more day, I'll be fine.
Right.
एक दिन निकल जाए, बस ऐसा होता है कि बस आज का दिन खत्म हो जाए, somehow I manage to
Right.
end this day, things will be fine. So things are very, very difficult there. So I can totally understand,
Yeah,
sir.
but we also had a lot of fun. Like it was, there are those fun moments as well, which keep going you through the days. There's difficulty, but like for example, you would see somebody else getting punished. Like as my like in my friend circle, like we were 3 or 4 of us were really good friends, and any one of us would get punished, the other one would start laughing, and they would get punished too. So in that sense, I think it was a lot of fun also, and I could see that this is a way of life. Like definitely, very
Right, sir,
respectable.
right.
But also individually, like even now those friends remember those memories, and I was like, okay, this is going to be difficult to just stick to this group and not be able to share it with the world. But yes, and also I think on the options, so a lot of the people that listen to your channel, I think they don't even clear the NDA, and then they feel their life is over or whatever, and we can talk more about like how to deal with that. But I think you have to be smart in the sense you have to create options for yourself. And again, I want to emphasize that I had to work possibly the same level as I did for NDA to clear the AIEEE and IIT exams. So it was not an option for me to go like, okay, I'm going to do only this thing, and if I don't do it, I'll keep trying it for the next 7 years, and if it doesn't work, then I will figure out what to do in life. So that way I felt it was a waste of time, because I was like, okay, I'll give it one very good solid attempt, and then I'll prepare for the other things on the side. So I think that also was an option for me. Otherwise, I think to your point, I would have not been so confident in making the decision. But also, one other thing that I want to point out is I was talking to a lot of people even before joining the army. I was talking to a lot of officers, like whoever in my Masa's like cousin or somebody who was in the army. I would go speak to them, and I realized that people who are trying to join the NDA, they're very enthused, right? They're very excited. But people who are higher up, who are 40 years old, 45 years old in the army, most of them had a very calm view of the forces. They were not like Jai Hind, like they would say that as part of their job, and they would feel
I get it, sir. Right.
But they also saw it as a job. They also saw it as an opportunity that, okay, you'll spend a lot of time away from family. There are other things you could
Yes,
do.
sir.
So a lot of them actually gave me a 50-50 view. Not everybody said you should go to the army, given my credentials of academics and my performance in AIEEE. Not everybody wholeheartely said you should go for army. But also there were people like who did not know anything else. They were like, how can you leave
this
the most elitist profession there is, to become like something else, like go do engineering. Everybody goes. So there was a balance of both. So it was
Right,
actually people like you and I have to think for ourselves and be like, okay, what is the balance there? So
as a matter of coincidence, sir, I would like to share something. So after coming from the academy, I recovered from the injury that I had, and last year I appeared for AFCAT examination. So AFCAT is a graduate entry, and if you clear that, you get trained for 1 year, you get commissioned. So I appeared for it. But at that time, I had already started my YouTube channel. I had started working on my own cohort, Cadets Club. So I had a lot of things going on in my life. At that time, when I got recommended, I got medically fit, I had this question in my mind that whether I really want to do it or not.
Yeah.
Do I really want to join the forces at this stage of my life? Because my course mates were in service and they had like served for 2.5 years. And if I go and join the forces, I will get trained with, my grand understudies course, like those kids which I used to punish back in academy. So how would all that feel? So I was in that dilemma. And so then I just thought that if it's in my destiny, if I get merit in, I'll consider about it. I'll think about it later on. And fortunately or unfortunately, I couldn't make it in the merit list. And I had no regrets that it's fine. I have already started something of my own and I'm enjoying life. So it's not like it's the end of the world, as you mentioned, sir. And one more thing that you mentioned about while you were preparing for NDA, you were 99% focused on NDA, but 1% that you were preparing for the AIEEE or the engineering exams, you were not doing that half-heartedly. You were doing that religiously. So that gave you the freedom to choose or have some options in life.
Yeah,
so,
I think as growing up, you have so much energy, as you said, right? Like I think people should not shy away from trying things. This has been my life mantra, has been that try everything under the sun. You have one life, especially when you're young. Like right now I have a very young child at home. She's 10 months old, but before that, like, you had so much energy. Like, why waste it on things? Like, there's a lot of things in the world, but I would say, like, what is true to you, go try it out and you'll learn lessons. Like, I think again, in the army, preparing for NDA, going through NDA, of course it was a shock leaving it. I think I was possibly like 6 months depressed on what happened. Like, I came back shaved. My friends then recognized me. My girlfriend back then broke up with me because it was like total luck shit. It was like, you're just a quitter. I was called Pakistani in my college by some, like, a couple of people as fun, as joke. But all of that like affected me as an 18-year-old because I'm like, who am I, this like, no name kid deciding to leave the army and coming back to like a college where don't know I didn't have a job or anything on the side, right? Like, it was just a potential that, okay, maybe I can do something else. So I would say both those experiences of preparing, that one thing that it taught me was, okay, if I set my mind to something, you can really go after it. So those achievements, even though I did not use it, but that mentality change, that, okay, once you set your mind to something, you can really go achieve a lot in life. That became unlocked because as a kid, you're always questioning that. Okay, I play cricket. I hit a 6 today. Can I play for, in the IPL? Now that is, once you make it as a 14, 15-year-old, you start making the leaps, you understand, okay, like, I have what it takes. And that's what the academy and the army training gave that experience to me. Okay, like, you have what it takes. If you put in effort, you get things. It was not a theoretical thing. You understand? Like, it's not a textbook thing that you have to be good in life. If you're good in life, you become, you achieve great outcomes. That was not the case. So that was one thing. And the second was making that call of leaving. It really made me reflect inside that, who am I? Why did I leave? And even now I question why I left the academy. Like, there's always that a movie playing in the head. What if I joined the army? So if I joined the army right now, I would have been a major. What that life would have been. I have friends who are majors right now and I meet them. I met them like a month ago. And I realized that, okay, I keep getting that feedback that, okay, what I did was the right thing. Like, the way I'm living my life right now. And a lot of people misunderstood that from my Instagram, that it's not just that living outside is an achievement, but being able to make your own decisions at a much larger scale than what would have been possible in the army. That is very important to me. And I think I keep getting the realization that path is amazing, like, to go to the army, but it was not made for me. So, and it's hard. There's no easy way around it.
I understand, sir. So a parallel world exists. It happens with me also, sir. So when I think about my life, when I talk to my course mates, they are serving captains. So they are in the services for last 3 years. So it comes to my mind as well that if things would have, happened the way I wished them, so where would I have been at this point in my life? I'm in Dubai right now. I'm pursuing MBA. Things are very different. So it also
Right.
comes to my mind. So I think we are lucky to have this experience of two different worlds. So we can imagine
Exactly.
like life, how life could have been and how life is. I think we are lucky in that sense. Sir, now I would like to ask you, after coming from there, as you mentioned that initial 5-6 months, it was very difficult for you. You faced a lot of, challenges in terms of, accepting that, and people around you were not so supportive except your family. Families are definitely, they are always with us. So after that stage, that time ended, how did you, picked up the new thing, the new path, and what helped you to, finally, pick some new goal in your life to start with something fresh?
Yeah, I would say that apart from like the first love was NDA in life, right? And I think first loves in life are always special. Like everybody remembers their first girlfriend or boyfriend. It's just different, right? You're just so madly in love with that thing that you just would do anything. As I said, I was ready to do anything needed to go through Air Force, right? And I can't say what life would have been had I gone through Air Force versus the army. Like I think I would have been definitely, been in the Air Force. And I would say that I think time has a way of healing things. So those 6 months, as I said, were depressing because I couldn't recognize myself in the mirror, like how I came back. I was incredibly vulnerable of sharing the situation that I was in because people were judging. But then I started realizing that this is who I am, right? I am a person who quit NDA. And that became my tag, like, oh, this is a guy who went to NDA and came back. And this is like, the beauty of it is you don't control the tags you get. And the other beauty is there's serendipity in that. You don't control it, so why worry about it, right? So I think I've told you this, that I am a deeply passionate person just by nature. Like if you give me, like I had 4 months off, for example, right now from Amazon, I took a sabbatical. So you would imagine a lot of people working 10 years, making a lot of money and doing a good job, and then taking 4 months off, they would be relaxing in like Italy or they're relaxing in India. Like, yes, I did that. I did that with my family because I don't enjoy relaxing by myself. Like I can't imagine just me on the beach. Like that's not, it's fun for one day. But a lot of time was with my grandparents, my baby came in. But a lot of time was like thinking about what to do next. So I am that personality, and that way I accepted that back when I was 18 after leaving the academy. Okay, what next? So what next has always been exciting for me. So I always had, even though I did not have a particular concrete image that this is what I want to do, but looking forward, always, like that was a no-brainer. So I joined the dance academy in school. I was doing b-boying, breakdancing. Of course, I continued with table tennis. I joined the football team. So there was a lot of stuff happening. And it gave me, of course, everything is not as rosy as I'm saying, right? There was downs and ups. But overall, there was, okay, what to do next? And it was again an open canvas. I call it an open canvas problem that, okay, you have a blank page and you have to draw something. Where do you start? You can start anywhere and you can choose any color. So that is a freeing moment. And again, it is not freeing when you're so clinging to that identity. So the open canvas movement is beautiful only when you're not clinging to an identity, right? If you're not, oh, I was supposed to be in the army or I was supposed to be an engineer. So in that moment, it opened it up. I pursued my engineering. I really found love for physics. So I started studying a lot of physics, what it does. And by the end of the college, like we were all applying for jobs. So essentially, and I felt very comfortable after that in life because I understood that, okay, one, I can handle adversity. I can handle physical, mental, all kinds of adversity really well. Okay, so there's nothing really that can hurt you. So then just enjoy life. So I started, giving back to people. I started doing a lot of community building because I realized that these are the principles that I've learned. What can I give outside? And then life is a rat race, Avinash. So like every second year you're worrying about the next year, then penultimate year in the college you're worrying about if you're going to get a placement. Once you get a placement, then it's like promotion. So, and same in defense forces as well. Same in defense forces, like you're always like chasing something big, and that's, I think, the way to be lived. So in that sense, yes, I got a lot of from the academy and training for the academy, I got a lot of confidence that I can achieve things. But then I also understood that switching goals is okay, but as long as you have momentum, you'll keep achieving success. And that kind of became very crystal clear to me that yes, like you have what it takes and just set the goal, you'll go get it. But just be careful what you set the goal as. Like, just that was the learning, that set good goals so that you feel happy when you achieve them.
Sir, I was scrolling through my Instagram one day and I found one of your reel. And the moment I came to know that you were All India Rank 3 in NDA, then you talked about financial freedom at the age of 30. You mentioned that you have this freedom that you can go to any place in this world, you can spend the time you want to. That really fascinated me and it made me curious to know, how did you learn all this, achieving financial freedom, how much, and at such a young age, because sir, getting financial freedom at the age of 30 is quite young. It's not an easy task to do. So I'll be very interested in knowing about that, sir, and what will you advise to people like me or youngsters, especially those who are watching us?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would say is, like, money, in growing up in a middle class income family, I was made to believe, I would not be a victim, I would not say made to believe, but I believed that money will solve all your life issues. That's what I thought when I was growing up. Because most of the fights in the house between my parents would be about something related to money. It would eventually boil down to, oh, we can't afford it, or we shouldn't have bought this, and things like that. But that was completely wrong. Like, I think once you get older, once you start realizing money is available, that's when you realize that money is not the answer to everything. But it solves a lot of problems in life. So I would like to say that if you believe that money will solve everything, then you're in for a surprise. Even if you make a lot of money, you'll realize that there's a lot of hardships and problems in life that you'll have to go through, and money can't help you through that. But money does help, making it a little bit easier. And I would say money helps you with money problems. Like you have to go see family, you can go see them. You don't have to think twice, and that's beautiful. But you have to assign a lot of other things. Now, question about financial independence, it occurred to me maybe 5 to 7 years ago. So Avinash, there's two ways to be wealthy, right? One way, which mostly people follow, the hedonic way, is to keep making more money, and you become wealthy. The other way is to realize that you have a lot already. So if you ask a happy fisherman who's fishing, or a farmer who has everything, they have kids going to school, they have a farm, I would say they're wealthy too. I think in India there's a misconception about richness, that being rich is being like that fat snobby person that drives Mercedes, doesn't talk to people. That's the trash side of richness. So being wealthy is a mindset. I would say that if you start, what happened for me back when I was like 5-7 years ago, I started understanding that what does it mean to become financially independent. Now, financial independent just means that you can do whatever you're doing in normal day-to-day life without having to worry about money. Now, I was thinking about an example a few days ago, that actually, if the only thing you want to do in life is watch Netflix, let's take a very dumb example. If the only thing you want to do is watch YouTube, you're financially independent. You need to pay for Jio, the 70 rupees, like whatever a month. You need to get a house, but you can be in any village, right? You don't need to be in a city.
Right, sir.
If you only want to watch YouTube, then you're financially independent. So it depends on what your goals are, right? Financial independent is just a term that you can do whatever you would do daily, just without having to worry about money. So for me, what was it? It was about reading. So I loved reading books. It's so cheap. It's really cheap to read books, right? It's really cheap to have books. You can get a library membership, and for $5 you have, or for maybe 100 rupees or 200 rupees a month, you have 10,000 books available to you. I loved meditating. It's free. I can sit down anywhere. I loved playing table tennis, one of the cheapest sports. So what I'm trying to explain is, like, for me, I realized that my expenses are really low, and I would like to go for a vacation, but it's not that much. Like, if I go for a vacation, I still do camping. I don't like to stay in fancy hotels because I just enjoy that toughness, the type 2 fun in life, as they say, which is like hiking, camping, and all of that is free. So I think financial independence, it kind of occurred from both sides. One is I started making, but I have to be clear with you that 5 years ago, I was making decent money. And I was chasing money the first way, which was, I just need money. I don't know why, but I just need money because that's something that everybody does. So I was able to succeed in that. So I'm not being philosophical without having data or money to back it up with. So I got into Amazon right after college, and funny story, NDA helped me get into Amazon. So Amazon came to my campus and they were recruiting, and they got to know that there's somebody who's quit the NDA who was an NDA rank 3, and that became my tag, as I said, right? Like, so everybody kind of knew me. Nikhil is this guy, whatever, something, but he was an NDA rank 3. That's became my tag. And the recruiters got to know from Amazon that there's a guy who's from NDA, who cleared NDA, and they called me like I was partying last night. I was completely hungover, and I came to the interview, and they were like, it was a full 5 rounds of interview after they got to know I cleared the NDA. It was a full set of interviews, and I was always very comfortable giving interviews. Like, I love talking to people. I just genuinely love being, curious person. And it came across in the interview, and I cleared at Amazon in India. So just a short story. First year was in Bangalore as an operations manager. And again, I was like, okay, this is a very boring role. Operations manager is like, you just make sure everything goes out perfectly, everything's smooth. It was not very stimulating, intellectually stimulating. So I started studying business analytics. I found a job in Amazon in Czech Republic in Prague. I spent 2.5 years there. Then I upskilled myself to a data scientist, moved to Luxembourg, Amazon. So, and then after that I moved to US. And US is where you make the real big money when it comes to big tech. As a data scientist, I roughly was making like 30 times my salary. What I started in Bangalore, my starting salary package at Amazon was 9 lakh rupees. And roughly now it's like about 2.5 CR in US, 2.5 CR rupees. So basically, again, the same thing, optionality is I was working hard. I was not half-assing anything, but I was working hard very smartly that, okay, Amazon is a big ecosystem. And that is something I knew when I entered Amazon. Okay, once you enter Amazon, it's a big universe. You can do different things. So I switched teams every 2 years just because I wanted to keep on learning. And I said, okay, and money was important. So I kept switching to different Western countries. Like, I moved from India to Prague, to Luxembourg, to Seattle. So more west you go, the more money you make. It's a funny geography, but this is how it happened. And I realized that, okay, money is good. After 10 years of doing this very seriously, I learned how to make money, and I also learned about investments. I understood that, okay, making money, earning money is one part of the trade. The other part is how do you keep the money and how do you grow the money. So that is something I spend time. I would say always try to find the people who have done it before you. Same thing for NDA. Find people who are like you, who went to NDA. Find people who are like you, who did engineering, because they will give you the best flavor of answer that you need. So it's the same for investment. I found people like me who are big in investment. So I found people like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Manish Pabrai. Manish Pabrai is an Indian. All these other guys have similar traits like me. They're really about learning. Their expenditures are very low. They just really enjoy this game of making more money. They treat it as a board game, like who gets to make more money. And they're very nice people. All of them are like almost teachers. So you find certain people, you follow what they've done, and you almost, it's like a shortcut to life. So I realized that roughly at about $1 million that, okay, this is good enough money. And that's why I took the sabbatical from Amazon for 4.5 months. I said, okay, let me see what else I have to offer apart from, doing my job. And now I think we'll see how life goes on. I'll be going back to Seattle. But I think to your earlier point, financial independence was very simple concept. I think people overcomplicate it, and most people find it unachievable or unbelievable. But as you are in Dubai, you'll understand. You'll see a lot of people making a lot of money around you. But if you keep checking that why are they doing it, a lot of people are just doing it because society said making money is good. If you're driving a Hyundai, you should move to a Honda. If you're driving a Honda, move to Mercedes. If you're driving a Mercedes, move to Maserati. Why? You don't really question. So that thing you have to really be crystal clear of. And I think at 18, when I quit NDA, I understood that, okay, nobody's looking out for you. You are the only person who's going to spend a lot of time alone with yourself. So be comfortable. Be very true to yourself on what you enjoy. And yes, so money was just a way to shortcut whatever I want to do, which is, talk to people like you, help other individuals who are like me, who are confused. And again, you see this beard, there's some white beard here. This is like, I was not like this like 10, 12 years ago. Whatever I'm saying right now is me through my experience, through my knowledge of 10, 12 years. Everybody is different, but I was very, very confused when I was 18. I was very confused when I was 16. I was very confused 2 months ago. So, and I take it as a life, like I will be confused because I want to do more and more things, and I will be questioning myself. What am I doing, and am I doing it right? So that people call it confusion. They see it in a negative light, but I think that is one of the ways to live life.
This was really insightful, sir, because financial freedom to me was also a very different concept. But today I've got to know that it's very, very important. How do you define your goal? So as you mentioned that if somebody just have to watch YouTube, so for them financial freedom is nothing. Like you just have a device and get unlimited data, and then you can just watch YouTube throughout your life. So that was very insightful, sir. And one more thing that you mentioned was about reading. So I put a lot of emphasis on reading because I believe that it is one single tool which can help you think outside the box, to think in a different way about life, about people, and how to grow. So I always advise this thing to defense aspirants as well, that if you really want to improve, if you want to work upon your reasoning ability, critical thinking, and if you want to just become a version of yourself, reading is one such tool that will definitely help you reach there. So, sir, towards the end of this podcast, I would just like to ask one last question. One favorite memory of yours from NDA, and one thing that you would like to advise defense aspirants.
I think, by the way, I'm good for interviewing. Like if you have time, we can do the conversation longer. Like I think you have a channel. I feel that I can sense that you're a very genuine person trying to help our people, and I love what you're doing. So open to your availability. But first I would like to say something about reading books. Reading books is like having mentors. So imagine that you have people like Narendra Modi, Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar, Elon Musk available to your home, in your hand, because they have said a lot of things and somebody's nicely covered them. You can never find this in a short video. You can never find this in a YouTube video. So imagine this, it's condensation of information. A book, you have to be like, if you really want to get inspired and feel like these people, you have to spend days and days with them, correct? Like,
right, sir.
If Virat Kohli comes to you and says hi, leaves, would you get inspired? Probably not. You would have a good memory, you would remember, you would tell everybody that Virat Kohli once said hi to you. Okay, now Virat Kohli comes to you for a coffee at your home or a tea at your home. He spends 20 minutes. Okay, I think that would inspire you. Now imagine if Virat Kohli spent a lot of your childhood with you, playing cricket with you, and you get a lot of time with him. What is going to inspire you the most? So whenever you find a good book, don't try to rush through it. Read it extremely slowly and try to soak in that wisdom. So, and that is a philosophy for life. These shorts and these videos are only a segue. They're only a trailer to the real thing. So I would say to a lot of people, if you want to have fun in life, be a journalist. Go deeper. Like that is where the fun is, and books is one way of going just deeper. And I don't know any other smart person. A lot of other people have said this, but I don't know any other smart person who doesn't read books. So that's maybe says something about habits and reading books, that if you really want to become successful in life, if you're not reading, I'm sorry, like this is not for you then. And I mean, fun memory for me, I think would be like a comment from so back when NDA, when I left, when I decided to leave NDA, I called my dad. He was a little bit, again, he's a civilian dad. He did not know what happened because it was like maybe a 2-minute call. And I said, Dad, come, and I'm ready to leave. He just asked, is everything okay? I said, everything's fine. And the next day, I'm wondering like what happened, because now I don't know. You can only call I think once a week because it's the weekend, or like I think I remember there's a big queue and you don't get to call every day for sure, right?
It's very difficult for juniors to get the phone to call. Yeah,
exactly.
It still happens.
So I'm like looking for a phone, then I get to know a senior has a phone. So I call my dad from the phone. I'm like, Dad, where are you? And dad is like, oh, yeah, I'm already here. And I'm like, what? And it was like within 24 hours, he came to the Kharakwasla NDA, and I'm like, okay, this is because as when I was deciding to quit, I did not know if my dad would take me seriously, right? Like it was literally, imagine you've been spending 3-4 weeks there and you call home for 2 minutes. You don't know if they're taking you seriously. You don't know if they're waiting for another call. But he showed up in like 24 hours. So I think that was the other reason why I thought, okay, now I can't tell him that go back. I'm leaving now. So maybe it helps to have an anxious dad like mine. But anyway, so he just showed up in 24 hours. And one of the funny moments was he was standing in Delta Squan in the main area, and I crossed him and he didn't recognize me. And I had to go to his face and I was like, Dad, it's me. And then he was taken aback that, is genuinely me. And I'm like, Dad, you didn't recognize me. He's like, no, because like, what are you, like I was wearing a full on, I think it was a uniform for the mess.
White
like the
pullover, sir?
No, it was the blue with the blazer. I don't know what's.
I get it.
Yeah.
The blue
the
petrol,
full, like
white
full.
petrol.
Yeah, the blue one, and where you have the
golden buttons till this point.
Yes.
I get it.
Exactly. So he didn't recognize me, and he's like, Nikhil, like there's something weird. This is the first place that I see. So he said it in Hindi. He's like, यहाँ पे लोग साइकिलों पे कम और साइकिलें लोगों पे ज़्यादा चलती हैं. Because to him it was such an epic moment that I can imagine him like coming into the army, like coming into the NDA headquarters and then walking through some of the areas and just looking around like people are upside down, like, walking with cycles. It's not for civilians. It probably looks like a little bit of circus to the civilians. And what is happening here? So that was my funny memory that I was like, of course I didn't find it funny then. I was very stressed. But now that I think about it, I think his comments were hilarious. Again, from a civilian point of view. But also the stories that I would tell back, the punishments. I would remember coming back home and showing my parents what is Maharaja, what is Maharani, like all these punishments. And it was funny because like, for civilians it's just hilarious, like all these
it's very
situations.
Different for them.
Exactly. It was and I think the other question you asked me was like, what is the one thing I would say to people who are aspiring or who haven't cleared? What was the question? Can you repeat it? Was it for people who are aspiring to be NDA?
One piece of advice that you would like to give to defense aspirants, those who are preparing right now, and also those who are not able to make it. You just have to share one thing.
For the NDA aspirants, one advice is like, again, be very clear to yourself. Just think about the odds of NDA. So there's about 5 to 6 lakh people who give the exam. About 8,000-ish clear the SSBs, and about 300 to 400 join. So that's a 0.1%. So if you know 1,000 people giving the exam, that's one who will make it through. That is useful to know information. It should not stop you, but it's a useful information to know, because otherwise you think, oh, everybody will clear NDA. That's just not happening, right? Also, you're competing, probably if you're very serious, you're only competing against the 10%, like roughly. Out of the 5 lakh, you're competing against the 50,000. Because those are the ones more serious, they're more training physically. And secondly, I would just say to them that enjoy the process. Don't be so nervous or so stressed about it that this is make it or break it. There are thousands, hundreds and thousands of people who don't clear it, and life turns out to be okay. So this is for people who don't think that they're not able to clear it. I would just say that be very smart on understanding that what are you missing. If you don't know, if you give an NDA exam and you didn't clear it and you're unhappy, you're upset, yes, there's time for that. But if there's no learning, if there's no gap that you identified, then probably it's not for you. You are not going to do it again. It's not a luck thing that you can keep trying and you'll make it one day. But also just be very aware of the other options you have. be very clear on what other options you have, but give NDA your best shot. And if it doesn't happen, don't think your life is over. The training for NDA, the training for any of these defense forces should teach you that mindset that I can achieve anything that I put mind to. And if the training is done right and you are not able to clear NDA, I am 100% sure you'll do great in life, because that training, what spend the 6 months, 9 months you spend training for the academy, are exactly what you need to succeed in life. So don't think of it as a waste at all. That mindset, that physical rigor, and that ability to deal with hardship and rejections, that's something you'll face so many times in life, in your career, personally. It's a great recipe for success. So don't think of it like your life has ended if the NDA doesn't clear up. So yeah, this is coming from somebody who's left NDA, so you might not want to take it, but yes.
Even I would like to share something, sir. So when I was preparing, I failed the written exam thrice, and I also come from a middle class background. So I had this thing in my mind that I grew up watching my father serving in the army. He was a soldier, and I had this thing very clear that I have to get commissioned into the army as an officer, and I'll make my father feel proud about it. So I failed the written exam thrice. I was getting shortlisted for technical entry scheme, Navy Tech and all that. I was getting rejected from the SSBs as well. I had appeared for 4 SSBs back in 2018, but I decided that I won't quit. Then I cleared the written exam in my 5th attempt, my first NDA SSB. Till that time, my attitude had changed and I had a lot of clarity about my own self, my personality. I had started reading books and all that, and everything showed up, and I was able to clear the SSB. I got recommended, got medically fit. Then I got selected for technical entry scheme as well. I got All India rank 25 in that. And I had one more SSB left, but my parents and family members said that you should just sit back at home and relax for some time. And then when I went to NDA, I also went alone. I took a flight from Lucknow to Pune. My family came to drop me off at the airport. Then I said, I'll manage. You guys don't need to join me, because as such you'll go to Pune and you'll just have to leave in 5-10 minutes. What's the point? So that is how it all started. And my YouTube journey is very different thing, sir. I never imagined in my life back in school that I'll have a YouTube channel and I'll be a content creator someday. So it's very, very different when I look at it. And right now I'm in Dubai. I had never imagined that I'll get to travel, outside India. Though I had a lot of things in my mind that after getting commissioned, I'll travel the world, I'll take my family here and there. But coming to Dubai for MBA and then getting to experience all this. So it's very wonderful to see how things turn up in life. Like, I believe that planning a lot in advance is not something that I will advise people to. Just take care of what is going on in your life right now and think about, let's say, 5-6 months ago, what is going to come next. So I had planned a lot of things, sir, in my mind, that I'll retire as a brigadier at least, I'll become a flag officer, this and that. And then right now when I create, videos for my YouTube channel, sometimes it hit me that, okay, see how things can turn up in life, and everything is beautiful only.
Yeah, I think if you're a person of regret, nothing will stop you. Like, by all means, just be regretful. Keep thinking about. And there are people, you'll see those old uncles sometimes who are only talking about their college days. There's nothing for them else to talk about. So that's a personality as well. And if you're that personality, then probably it can't help you much. But like 10-12 years ago, being a YouTuber was a joke. It was not a profession by no means. So all that means is that outside of army, I think in the army things are very linear. Like, there will be changes, there will be growth. I think there will be certain challenges, and I hope there are no more wars. But there will be, things coming up. But more or less, it's a linear path. But outside, it's just a completely different playing ground. And if you think that you're going to do something, life is going to be, throwing lemons at you. And if you're not able to make lemonades out of them, then it's partially your fault, because if you're always regretful, then there's nobody to console you. You will probably not be having a lot of friends, because nobody likes to hang out with people who are always dwelling in the past. So Avinash, it seems like you're also that kind of person who made that decision on leaving the army and made the most out of it, and you're still making the most out of it. I think to be honest, I was not as patriotic as when I was 18 as I'm right now. And it's just the word patriotism is not, to me personally, it's not about having a gun and standing on the front lines. But I think, for example, I would say teachers and people who work for non-profits in India are really the most patriotic people. Now, people don't think of them that way, right? Now,
Right, sir.
as you get older, you start questioning. So there's a lot of propaganda, right? That propaganda is probably used as a negative term, but there's a lot of marketing done because India needs defense, right? India is at a very important stage in life, and they have been with China and Pakistan next to it, and we've been through a lot of things, right? And India needs defense forces, but that does not mean that you can't serve the nation. If you're truly honest as a 17-year-old, as a 16-year-old, and you say you want to serve the nation, I definitely feel you should give the defense forces an exams. But if you're not able to clear that, and then you do something completely different, which is maybe like working in IT and not giving back to the society, then I say that is bullshit. Then you are not trying to serve the nation, because there's not one way to serve the nation. And
Exactly.
I would question your patriotism if you're able to say that it was only through armed forces that I can be patriotic. I think what Avinash is doing is helping people go through, the defense forces. And even for people who are not able to join defense forces, is encouraging them. I would say is helping a lot of citizens of India, right? And I would say that is patriotism. So patriotism has different flavors, and don't undermine a life of 70, 80 years of productive life. Like a life of 70 years, you can have a lot of impact with and without army. So, don't underestimate the effort that humans have. So that would be my only main concern, is like with people just keep giving the exams and saying that was my only goal and I can't do anything else. I think that, I'm sorry, then you're just wasting potential of a very, solid citizen that could have been.
So I had to share
Which course were you in, Avinash? Like, what was your
I
course
joined
number?
141, sir. 141 India Squadron.
Okay, I was in. So you were in India Squadron. Okay, yes, I think probably like a full batch before you.
Right, sir.
Right.
So I joined on 26th of December 2018, sir.
Same. Yeah, I joined 26th of December 2012. Yeah.
Small world. So exactly 6 years later, I joined the academy. And sir, in my case, it was different, sir. I got to know I had some bone deformity in my left hip joint, and I got to know about it in my 4th term. After I completed rovers, I started feeling pain.
Wow.
And I went to MH Khirki, I reported sick. Then the doctor told me that you have this issue. If you're able to pass, clear 2 more terms, you'll go to IMA. So, and they had no other option. And I said, okay, I'll try my best. I cleared my 5th term, all the tests. But in 6th term, my service was army. Things got even worse for me because army demands a lot of physical challenges. The lower body your lower body has to be perfectly in shape. Because every other day we used to go for firing, navigation, then BPT, then running. So I tried my best, but I couldn't pass all my tests. So I got relegated. Academy gave me some chance to rest and recover. So I was there for 7 terms. So I stayed there. I repeated 1 term with 142. But then when I realized that okay, my body is not able to do all this, then it became clear to me that okay, this is not in my destiny, because after doing so much, after putting in a lot of effort, if still I'm not able to make it, then there must be something else in life for me. And at that time I realized that, because when I joined the academy, as you mentioned, I was able to do 12-13 chin-ups, I could do 50 push-ups. So I was one of the strongest link of my course. And those people who were hardly able to do 5-10 back then, they were way better than me in the 6th term. So it hit me that okay, things, time can change anything, and it's fine. Like it's okay to not be as good as I was, but I know this thing, once I recover, I'll be fine, I'll be fit. So that is how I accepted it, that okay, this is not in my destiny, and it's fine, I'll figure out something. And it also took me some time, sir. Like you mentioned, it took you 5-6 months. So when I was coming out, my divisional officer was from 127 Charlie Squadron, and sir told me one thing, that you would have been a very good officer, and I don't want you to leave, but we can't do anything about it. So I wish you all the luck, but once you go out, you'll have to re-establish yourself. You will start from zero again. Whatever you have,
Right.
you'll have to leave it here only. Once you go out, you'll have to give it a fresh start. And he was actually right, sir, because I was lucky enough to get graduated from JNU only. I didn't have to find any other college because I had completed all my 6th-term examination from there, and I was pretty well. I was academic stodgy. I was an appointment also in my 6th-term. I was CQMS of my squad.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I was also actively participant in games and sports, public speaking, everything.
Mhm.
So I could relate to a lot of things that you were talking about, sir. So that is how my divisional officer, squadron commander, they tried their best. But once something is there in our destiny, we just can't change it. And after coming from there, I took some time, I took a break, and then I picked up, I would like to do MBA because I want this freedom in life. Now I've got some freedom. I want this
Right.
freedom in life that I can pick anything, do anything, and make money. And I believe that if you are willing to work for something, if you're willing to learn and grow, money can be earned in many ways. So that won't be a problem.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think this is the perfect time to understand that there's conventional ways you can become a doctor,
Right.
lawyer, armed officer, but there is maybe a million other ways you can make money.
sir.
And if you're ready to put in the effort and just again be curious about learning things and adaptable enough, which the army and all these training is really around that you're completely adaptable to situations, you're unstoppable, right? So I think it is just that most people limit themselves. Most people say that, okay,
Right.
this is who I am. And now if you take that away from me, like this is Nikhil, I'm a scientist at Amazon. Now if you take that away from me, I'm going to be like almost naked in the society. I don't have I don't have any more of an identity around me, and I'm so vulnerable. And that is something that you should be comfortable with. That is going to happen in your life. Your parents will pass away, your tragedies will hit you. You'll question a lot of times in life, why am I doing this? Who am I? If you're comfortable with that question, and I'm not saying comfortable with the answer, because the answer will keep changing, but if you're comfortable with that question, if that question doesn't haunt you, who am I? What am I doing? Then you're in for great success in life. So I think the earlier you can answer these questions, and the earlier you can understand these questions are going to keep coming. Do I marry that person? Do I want to have kids? Why do I want to live outside? Why do I want to make money? I'm not saying be very philosophical about it, but understand these questions are what defines you, and they will keep coming at you. If you're comfortable, you are going to, go through those barriers really fast, like you did. I can't imagine 7 terms leaving the academy and then starting something, completely new. And you found a way. You found a way of combining all the skills of NDA, of MBA that you're doing, and then serving the nation. So I think you found that in Japanese they call it ikigai, which is what you're good at, what society pays for, and what you do enjoy. You
I've
found
read that
that
book also.
intersection. Huh?
I have read that book also, sir, Ikigai.
Yeah, ikigai. So you
Japanese way
found
of
that.
living.
Yeah, you found that, and it's of course is going to keep adapting as as things evolve. But I think it's great to know that there's no one way to life. So yeah, completely agree, Avinash, and it was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope we'll stay in
Pleasure
touch.
was
And
all mine, sir. For sure, sir. I'll stay in touch, and
Of course,
because,
yes.
sir, I think I'll be graduating from my MBA course in March 27, and sir, I'm still figuring out where exactly should I start with. Though I have made one path clear that I want to go in marketing and sales. So I would love to know your opinion or maybe your views about all these things later. So whenever you have time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I'm happy to stay in touch, and I really appreciate and I respect what you're doing. At a young age, you've figured out important things in life. Of course, there's a lot more things you'll figure out as you go, but I can see the effort, that you've put in. So it shows up, and I think your YouTube channel compared to some others. I think some other YouTube channels, they try to train people to join the forces, but it's a lot about views. And I think that every YouTube channel video on NDA forces should be starting with the probability that there's 500,000 applicants. Not to discourage, but I think most people just like they see the movie 12th Pass, or I forget the name, the BA. I don't know. I forgot the movie name where he clears the examination. It recently became a. Let me see. Is it 12th Pass? Where he became yes, 12th Fail. So I think the recent movie 12th Fail, where everybody talks about that one guy. I think it is a beautiful movie. There's beautiful direction and acting and screenwriting, but you have to understand there is millions who don't go through that. And so if you take that movie and take it as a prime example that this is what you want to do, I have bad news for you that there's a lot of luck. And yes, everybody wants to be a movie star.
Important to make people realize what's the reality, so what are the odds, so people don't think that way. And so my whole motivation of starting this channel was to just share my experience, as I shared with you, sir, that I had been through SSB a lot of times. I have seen failures a lot of times. So I just want my audience to know that it's the journey that is more important than achieving something.
Right.